What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is the Chinnist. Today is July 18th, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. I have my massive haul here of 31 different titles. No spec buys this week, so 31 total. Excellent read this week. Starting off on the DC side, we have Justice League. My opinion, Scott Snyder has been knocking this out of the park. Justice League really feels like a big event, like big crossover type of feel to it. Artwork, 4.25 to 4.5. I mean, this title is just stellar right now, in my opinion. Pretty cool backstory of Gorilla Grodd. Never really knew too much about him. Pretty interesting stuff. Teams kind of split up doing various items. A lot of the Lex Luthor, coming back to the evil side. This is where he kind of reveals himself, to the good guys. He's been bad for a while, to the readers. The readers are aware of it. A lot of John Stewart dealing with the Ultraviolet, the new core that's Sinestro kind of started here. Really great stuff. A lot of always action on every page. A little bit of dialogue here and there to set up the story, but man, always like a big, dynamic, epic feel to it. Excellent title in my opinion. So yeah, Justice League. Next up from DC, we have Injustice versus Masters of the Universe. Love both these titles, as standalone. The last Thundercats He-Man crossover, I thought was excellent as well. This one actually picks up where that one left off. So you have Adam, who has been outed as He-Man. So all of Eternia is aware that Adam is now He-Man. Didn't really make any difference like a Clark Kent. As soon as he takes off his shirt, it's obvious who he is. Nonetheless, very good story. Gets right back into the battle scenes. Great artwork to go along with this. The same artist who did the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. Kind of that painted brush, portrait type of feel to it, in my opinion. Love this stuff. So yeah, this one here, you have Superman, obviously, who went bad, went berserk, went to a dictatorship type of rule. So this one picks up where, I guess, Injustice, the original storyline left off right before Injustice 2, to where they're aware that Eternia is full of magic. Batman went over there because he's aware that Superman is kind of targeting these magic type of places because, what is it, magic and lightning are like the two, weaknesses, in addition to kryptonite, the two other weaknesses that Superman has. So yeah, pretty cool storyline, how they kind of tie it all together, to where it actually somehow makes sense. Pretty cool stuff. If you like either of these, check it out. Next up from DC, we have Damage. So I heard maybe a rumor that they may be killing off Damage due to the poor sales or, maybe lackluster sales. I think he's selling okay, but I think they expect him to do better. So he actually may be killed off in this upcoming Crisis or Heroes in Crisis. So it's coming up, what is it, like 2 months from now, I think? I've enjoyed him, but the artwork in here, the artwork took like a nosedive, like issue number 3 or so, maybe issue number 4. So, the artwork really carried it the first couple issues, but the character, really started to build up to where, I was really engaged with this character they were building up here, other than, the human version of Damage. But along the way, I don't know, this has been the least of my favorite of the 7 issues thus far. So yeah, I could see them, potentially thinking about killing him off. So yeah, it was a little bit of a fun ride, but I guess unless they turn it around, this guy may be killed off here pretty soon. Okay, next up from Vertigo, which is under the DC banner, Deathbed. So this one here started off as a this guy here, well, not that guy, but the main character, his name is Luna, and he was basically on his deathbed. He wanted an autobiography written about his life. He was some sort of adventurer, so you find out, someone starts plotting against him. It was just like a lure to try to bring whoever's trying to plot against him. This last issue ties up the entire storyline. You find it's a reveal of who this person was who was setting these things up against Luna. Pretty good reveal, it all makes sense. Artwork was pretty phenomenal to go along with this title here, but the story, started off very, very strong, but petered out here, towards the end of the title here. So yeah, if you want to check out and trade, flip, thumb through it just for the artwork, but yeah, Deathbed, average at best. Moving on to Marvel. So we start off, this is just a incentive cover grab. This was Tony Stark Iron Man number 2, and this was by, I think it was Mark Brooks. I saw this one retailing for about $30 online. I thought this was really cool how he was wearing his initial armor, and this is like the sequence of adding that added like Hulk armor to it. This is not the Hulkbuster armor, but something similar. Pretty cool cover. However, I did not enjoy that number 1 like whatsoever, to tell you the truth. I don't know how many of y'all did, but I kind of thumbed through this number 2. Artwork is still great. The storyline just, did not grab me. So yeah, pick this one up just for the variant incentive. All right, another number 1. This is The Life of Captain Marvel. This is actually cover B. It's a 1-for-1. This is the Art Germ cover. Another great job by Art Germ. Some of the Art Germ stuff, I don't like 100% of what he does. Maybe about 70% of what he does, I really enjoy. This falls in that 70% category. So this is, as it says, The Life of Captain Marvel. They went back and retold her origin story. So this entire title will be her overall origin story. I forgot how many parts this was. I think it's a 4-parter, I believe. Please comment down below if you're aware of how long this will be. I really did not know too much about Carol Danvers to start off with, so whatever retcon they did or whatever they changed, I'm unaware of what they actually changed. This was pretty decent. You find out as a child she kind of went through some child abuse, or maybe either her father or her stepfather either beat her. Unclear if he actually beat her, but definitely beat her brothers. So you kind of see, some of that rage, I guess, kind of stayed with her as she grew up and actually became a superhero, and actually affects her to this day. Pretty interesting read. Not enough for me to pick this one up as an ongoing series. If they have any cool covers coming out like this by Art Germ, I'll definitely be picking it up. But the storyline alone, not too much of a Carol Danvers Captain Marvel fan, to tell you the truth. The movie's coming out, jump all over that, any spec buys there. But overall as a character, I was never really too interested. So yeah, we'll see if the movie grabs me or not. Infinity Countdown. So this is number 5. This concludes the countdown. The next one is either the prelude or we get into the wars. I can't remember. I think there's like one more prelude that comes like right in between here. So as you say, Adam Warlock, pretty focal point here at this point in time. He's obviously going to be like the main hero going forward into this war. He kind of explains that, the gems have changed over time. He kind of starts explaining, why they changed. This one really deals more with the time stone, if I recall the story, correct. Interesting stuff. You want to read this, kind of know to set up this Infinity War that's right about to come up if you're going to be reading through that. I would suggest to kind of read through this one. This one really started off as a Guardians of the Galaxy, storyline, which is pretty decent. A lot of good action if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan. Definitely pick up this countdown. But overall, pretty decent action. So yeah, pick it up if you will be picking up the new Infinity War coming out. The Immortal Hulk number 3. Pretty cool concept. The Hulk is now a monster. If Bruce Banner dies, the Hulk rises at midnight every night. It's kind of like a Solomon Grundy, more of a horror monster type of feel to the Hulk now. Also, when the Hulk is the Hulk, he is very intelligent and very, I guess vengeful may be the word that's to be used. He is very spiteful, and any way to punish the evildoers out there that he's trying to correct, he takes full liberty in that punishment. I think he really enjoys it. So this is pretty cool. This was actually like I think this is like a 3 different perspective. I think that there's a cop, old lady, and one more, I think a bartender. They get like their perspective of the exact same story of what happened. So it's pretty cool. It's like a fishing tale, to where like every time you tell the fishing tale, the fish gets larger and larger along the way. So the Hulk is like different size. He's doing different things, depending who they're talking to. Pretty cool concept, pretty cool storyline to go along with this one. I have never really been a Hulk fan other than Amadeus Cho, one of the more recent Hulks. This storyline is pretty intriguing to me, so I did add this one to my sub, and this issue is pretty good. Old Man Hawkeye. So issue number 7, it actually took 7 issues to actually explain why Old Man Hawkeye is on this revenge mission here with Kate Bishop. They never really explained, you are aware that they killed off his entire team, but they never explained why, how. This one issue reveals everything. They kind of go back in time and they explain how everyone was murdered, how his entire Avenger team was just killed off. Pretty cool. I mean, including the Thor, Wanda, Pedro. I think Black Widow was in here. This entire group just gets slaughtered one by one. Pretty cool how they kill them off. Pretty interesting that Magneto actually killed off his daughter. I thought that was pretty interesting, pretty intriguing. And they kind of explain why, and it pretty much all makes sense in my opinion. So yeah, Old Man Hawkeye, excellent storyline, and this was kind of like a reveal, as to what set him on this mission. Avengers number 5. So in this one, you finally get that reveal, the backstory of the celestial god who originally fell. So to my surprise, there's actually 2 different celestial gods that were involved. One came to Earth a long, long time ago when the Earth was still kind of lava. Has not been formed yet. There was no life on Earth whatsoever. He came into contact with some sort of, I forgot what it was, some sort of like parasite plague, to where he was infected. His blood and his vomit basically infested the Earth. And the Earth as we know it today was really due to this celestial god who died on Earth a long time ago. So then we fast forward to that last, the Legacy, where you see the Avengers 1 million who actually fought a celestial god. Come to find out, that celestial god was actually searching for the other celestial god that died and was actually a lover to that celestial god. So here comes Odin and his Avengers, and they basically killed the celestial god for like no reason. Huge storyline, very, very cool how this all kind of like starts, coming into play. A storyline that evolved over millions of years. Pretty cool stuff here. So, along with Justice League, Avengers is very big, very epic, just in the ongoing series alone. Love what they're doing on both titles, man, love it. So yeah, if you have been an Avengers fan and you have been dodging the title, definitely check out this reboot here. X-Men Red. This one really focused on, what is his name? Peace or something, passive? Something like that. Gentle. Oh, that's pretty close. One of the newer characters, really more of a backstory as to why he really is. You kind of, in some of the previous issues, you understood that he kind of went through pain whenever he started to use his power, and you find out it was a pure mental issue. He was kind of shunned as a child. He was, half Wakandan, so he wasn't really full Wakandan, so he was shunned there. His mother, pretty much hated him because he had powers. Screwed up childhood, which is why I guess he grew up to be screwed up and very, very passive. Pretty cool backstory there, along with the main character here, which was, Professor Xavier's twin, which I forgot what her name was. I've never really read, here's her right face here, or side of her face. I've never really read any stories about her, so yeah, pretty cool stuff. Enjoy all the X titles. They're going to be canceling a few of them. This one I understand they're not going to be canceling, so yeah, X-Men Red. Moving on, Weapon H. So I've said before, both Damage and Weapon H coming out the same week. So I guess at the end of the day, Weapon H is going to win here because due to the sales. This backstory was in Clay. I enjoy his backstory, his relationship with his wife that they kind of brought in early on. Really enjoy that, in addition to his full control of when he actually becomes, the Wolver Hulk or Wolverine. And he could pretty much do anything with his power to a certain degree. They kind of also reveal that, with the splicing of Lady Deathstrike, Domino, Sabretooth, and Wolverine, he actually has more powers that you haven't seen yet. I think Domino's powers, that little luck factor, that's going to be coming into play here in his powers going forward. So they kind of hinted at it, but I know, that's obviously what's going to happen here. So yeah, whenever he gets Domino's powers, man, that's going to be pretty awesome. So yeah, Weapon H. X-Men Gold. Yet another X title. Pick up all the X titles that are out there right now. Love it. So this one really focused around Rachel, who is under mind control of, what is his name? Was it Mesmero? Pretty cool battle. So it's, Rachel versus the X-Men and, them trying to basically snap her out of it. Pretty cool fight scenes, pretty cool epic battles, kind of a little bit of a backstory of, Rachel, if you didn't know who she was, a little bit of a dialogue there about her. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. If you are a Rachel fan, this is definitely for you. So I remember reading a lot of, Excalibur and other things about her when, growing up in the 90s. So yeah, X-Men Gold. Thor number 3. So one of the rare times I actually picked up Thor as an ongoing series. I really enjoy the storyline. I thoroughly enjoy the storyline. This artwork, as I've said in the past videos, I have tried to give this artwork by Del Mundo, quite a few tries. I've enjoyed Del Mundo's cover art, but man, I just cannot get past this artwork here in this title. I think this may be my last issue that I pick up as ongoing. I may pick it up as a trade, going forward, because I really did enjoy the storyline, but man, this artwork, I just cannot... Man, I just can't accept the artwork, guys. I'm so sorry. I know that a lot of y'all like this artist, and I enjoy the artist as a cover artist, but man, the interior art, I just can't, man, sorry guys, just can't deal with it. So yeah, Thor number 3. Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and again, these storylines that they put into these comics here, they're all canon, and they are freaking stupendous. This one really dealt with that traitor who turned against her own rebels. She shut down the launch bays, and she totally shut down their shields. Gave them basically like a shooting gallery for the Imperial fleet to start opening fire on them. Great stuff. And this one is, or the one coming up, is going to be the Millennium Falcon versus Darth Vader in his advanced TIE fighter. Very, very cool stuff. This is definitely written for the fanboys. So yeah, Star Wars, if you're a Star Wars fan, definitely check this out in trade. One more Star Wars title this week, Star Wars Darth Vader. This was the annual. Number 2, man, time flies. So this one, this one was yet another one-off type of storyline. A lot of it dealing with a relationship between General Tarkin and Darth Vader. This one, overall, you really tell, Darth Vader is really General Tarkin's bitch. Like, straight up, the Emperor basically tells Vader, like, hey, you got to listen to everything this guy says. He is basically your master while you're, under his control. Under his command. Very cool stuff. The only, my only complaint about this issue is the artwork. Very, very poor. I'd say maybe like a 1.5 overall. Did not dig the artwork whatsoever, but a pretty cool storyline. So yeah, Darth Vader annual number 2. One of the Hunt for Wolverines. This is the Claws of a Killer. So a lot of these storylines, really are one-off, don't really mean too much. This one turned into more of a zombie type of storyline. So pretty cool storyline, just as a little one-off. If you like Dakin, definitely check this one out. But overall, more of just a throwaway story, nothing dealing with Logan whatsoever. It's just like a weird, like a mutant zombie type of storyline. So yeah, if you're into that, check it out. Claws of a Killer. Moving on to Image. Quite a few Image titles, I think, this week. Gideon Falls. Jeff Lemire, great storyteller. Yet another horror storyline that's out there right now. A lot of horror that I do enjoy, but hard to find good horror. This is definitely one of them. You have the main killer who's come out, and pretty cool how he escapes through the barn, and you never really see the barn in this one issue, but they kind of show like a crop, like a UFO crop landing. You see like that imprint of the barn, so the barn is for real. It materializes for sure. It's just not a dream. So this guy, the serial killer, is using this barn as like a portal. Pretty cool stuff. A lot of dark secret type of things kind of going on. The artwork truly goes along with the horror story, in my opinion. Love this title. So yeah, again, if you're looking for horror, check this one out. One more horror coming up from Image, Infidel. So this one concludes, number 5 of 5. This one did get a green light for some sort of movie option. So if you go pick up that number 1, definitely suggest to go do that. Pretty cool storyline overall. So this one concludes, it kind of explains at the very end, what the supernatural thing was. Not too much, you pretty much know just from watching Japanese movies and things of that nature. You kind of know what's going on just from knowledge of other supernatural type of movies. But pretty cool how this one kind of wraps up, pure action thriller sequence all the way through from that page number 2 all the way to the end. Really, really enjoy this one. So again, if you're looking for horror, check this one out. Just 5 issues in this one. So yeah, if you want to pick up the trade, pick it up, but find that number 1 because it does have a green light movie option. The Weatherman. So the first one really grabbed me. I thought the humor was in there, the artwork was there for me in my opinion. Love the lettering as well. So in this one you finally figure out what the heck is going on, what happened to Earth, why billions of people died. So the first one, you have this happy-go-lucky weatherman. He's just kind of all over the place using his fame, to his advantage, definitely. And all of a sudden, he has, basically FBI, at his door, holds him hostage. And you come to find out this guy did indeed, he was basically like a secret Black Ops agent who went through some sort of facial reconstruction surgery, and he also had his mind wiped. So this guy actually did commit the most horrendous crime ever against the human race. So here he kind of starts to deal with it. Pretty interesting storyline. Love the artwork to go along with it. Yeah, check this one out. A pretty cool sci-fi type of storyline. The Weatherman. One more horror, The Ice Cream Man. So this one started out pretty strong. So this is issue number 5. Of the 5 issues, this one has definitely been my least favorite. Artwork, always great, always creepy. This entire issue, though, was more of a dream sequence. It kind of flipped back and forth between 2 characters, and you really don't have any appearance of the Ice Cream Man whatsoever. So overall, it's been kind of like a either 1 or 2 kind of short stories, like an anthology in each issue. This one's just a little bit different format from what we've seen so far. And they kind of started talking about the Ice Cream Man just a little bit. They kind of started talking about his backstory just a tad. And I thought we're going to get a little bit more backstory. I thought this is going to be the Ice Cream Man. No, just kind of like a little one-off, dream sequence type of weird story. So yeah, my least favorite issue so far, but love this title overall. Crude. So this is number 4. Great storyline to go along with great artwork here, in my opinion. So what you have, ex-CIA, not CIA, but ex-Russian, Black Ops type of agent. Come to find out his son was murdered. He's trying to get back into the underworld to figure out why his son was murdered. There was a reveal at the end of the last issue to where his son actually may be part of the mob, and the main character gets even more information about his son here. Total twist. I won't give away too much of what happens, but overall, the artwork, the action throughout this entire series, this entire title overall, stupendous. So yeah, check it out. Crude. Versus. So this artwork by Esad Ribic, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Phenomenal, man. This throughout the entire title, the colors, the color palette, but along with the overall art itself, phenomenal. I feel this one really concluded this one here, but I felt that this title was really carried by the artwork as compared to the storyline itself. But if you're an artwork lover, definitely check out this overall title. Man, just beautiful artwork to go along. Versus. The Magic Order. So this is issue number 2. That issue number 1 really captured me. So this has been actually Netflix purchased the entire Mark Millar world. So everything he's written, Netflix actually owns. The magic order is the very first item that they're going to bring to the screen. That issue number 1 really caught me. I really could see that entire issue being a TV episode, in my opinion. My most favorite character by far is this girl here. I forgot what her name is, but she's a escapeologist, I think is what she calls herself. She has magic to where she can basically get out of anything. And it actually started when she was in the womb. Her mom was going to abort her, and she actually somehow sensed it and used magic to jump from her mom's womb into the womb of the surgeon who was doing the abortion. Somehow the surgeon, continued full term and had this child here. So pretty cool backstory on this girl alone, but like her, just her outlook on life, her party mode type of deal, how she grew up as a little girl, always using her magic. Pretty cool stuff, man. I fall in love with that one character right off the bat. So yeah, really looking forward to what they do with the when they translate this to the big screen, or not the big screen, but to Netflix. And I guess there's a question if they're going to finish up the series and Netflix starts off, from where this one finished off, or if they're going to actually translate this title that we're reading here into a show. So yeah, curious to see what happens there, but love this title so far. Moving on to Action Lab. Aberrant. So this is kind of like another mutant psyot type of world, to where people are starting to get superpowers. Not really clear how long they have been around. It doesn't seem for very long. And the governments are starting to get involved to start utilizing them in as militarized weapons. So this story kind of focuses on the military utilizing these superpowers, kind of making their own teams, and, countries going against other countries, and these heroes kind of used for just war. So pretty cool storyline, concept's been out there, it's been told before. But I don't know, just a little bit different angle on this one, in my opinion. So enjoy it so far. This is only issue number 2, so I don't recommend this one yet. I want to read number 3, 4, maybe, to see what this one's really all about. But pretty decent so far. Aberrant. One more from Action Lab. We have 12 Devils Dancing. This one I subbed after I read it in the previews. I thought it was pretty cool. Just from the solicit that I read. Really follows a serial killer, and this one kind of tells you like his origins. Kind of goes back and forth to where the past they'll tell you his origin story, and they'll kind of fast forward to the present as far as like what diabolical thing he's doing to the girls now at this point in time. Pretty cool stuff. I enjoy this read so far. It was a pretty thick read. It took me a while to get through this one. Pretty dialogue packed, but pretty action packed as well. And you really want to figure out like what the heck is going on with this serial killer. What he's going to do next. So yeah, enjoyed this one so far. 12 Devils Dancing. Moving on to Aftershock, we have the Lost City Explorers. So that number 1 I thought was pretty intriguing enough to go ahead and pick up number 2. So you come to find out in issue number 1, the Lost City is actually Atlantis. This one kind of explains, they kind of take some mythos that's been written down, and they go into the possibility of the storylines to show you that Atlantis transpired to be an island. It's underwater now, but the remnants went on to Manhattan Island over in the Americas in New York. So this one, kind of starts building up the team, starts building up the characters. You have not gotten to Atlantis yet. I think that I want to get through that issue number 3 to see if I want to continue this one on or not. This issue number 2 was a little bit slow for me. I did enjoy that issue number 1, but this issue was just a little bit too slow for me. Number 3 is going to be the telltale if I continue this overall title or not. Right, got one from Bongo Comics, Futurama. So I was so depressed when Fox canceled Futurama. And then who picked it up? It was either Cartoon Network or USA. It was picked up. They had a couple more seasons, and then it was canceled again. So I'm not sure if they're ever going to bring it back, ever again. However, I love that. That TV show, and this one issue, kind of 2 different storylines, 2 little short stories, so to speak. Man, just like the cartoon show. So if you're a fan of the cartoon show, I would say definitely check this one out just for nostalgic type of reasons. So again, Futurama, Bongo Comics. Got one from Dark Horse. This is THor. This is the second title that came out under that THor, I guess, branding, the Copper Golems. Very good action all the way through. So this one kind of had like that whimsical type of art and color palette, but not really, whimsical whatsoever. Very, very dark at times. A lot of good action that kind of goes along here. So, this is the fight against the Copper Golem. One more issue to conclude this title overall, I believe. But this one was met my expectations. So yeah, THor, if you enjoy that first title that came out, definitely check this one out, the Copper Golems. Picked up one from Scout Comics, The Mall. So this was one from New Comic Book Day, and I'm sorry, Free Comic Book Day. I did not pick that one up. I kind of read the solicit about it. It did not really interest me, to tell you the truth. The owner at the first LCS I go to, he actually suggested this one. He thought it was a pretty decent storyline. He started talking about the malls. Of course, like I'm aware of what a mall is, but this one kind of hit the younger generation when the malls were just a little bit more focal, a little bit part of society, a focal part of society and our culture that you don't really have now with Amazon. Nonetheless, very cool story. So I thought it's yet another mob boss type of storyline. It gets a little bit deeper. It follows these three kids who you see on the cover here. They're actually all related. I won't reveal what actually happens, but they're actually related somehow. And along with that relationship, they're each given one store in the mall, due to this person passing and them inheriting one of these stores. So, with the mob involved, it gets pretty deep. Some killing goes on. Very cool stuff. I am definitely going to be subscribing to this title. Yet another title that I would have passed up, unless I got a recommendation. Check this one out. If I just want to pass on that same information that I got earlier today. So I really enjoy this one. If you're into that that murder, mob boss, small town feel to it, yeah, check this one out, The Mall. One more by Titan Comics, Dead Life. This is in the zombie genre. By no means am I burned out in the genre whatsoever. I still love zombies, to the maximum. I've always enjoyed the 0 hour. What was the very first zombie outbreak? How did it start? What were the first reactions? How did our civilization start to deal with it? Something like The Walking Dead, they kind of fast forward like 1 year into it. I like to actually see like the 0 hour. I want to know the full story. I don't like it left to the imagination. I want to see what the actual storyline was. So this one starts off, normal, everyday life, and the zombie apocalypse unfolds. And they actually tell you the instrument or the tool, I'll say, that was utilized in order to start the zombie apocalypse. Great stuff. Really enjoy the artwork to go along with it. With this one, maybe like a 3.75 out of 5. Very, very thick issue. And I think there was, I think this is maybe like only 2 issues or maybe 3. It's a very, very short series, but I feel they did a really good job on this one so far. So if you are a zombie lover, definitely check this one out. Nothing too mind-breaking here. I think the couple concepts, maybe the zombies could utilize tools to a certain degree, and animals could also become zombies here in this one title. But loved it overall. Love zombies. If you do as well, definitely check out this one title, Dead Life. Guys, that's going to be it for this week's brand new haul. Should you enjoy what you see here, please like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.